you know, we definitely act with, we act through fear. And it's hard to get out of those old patterns because we're so used to them. And, they can take over our whole solar system, in our mind. Um, and I don't know. It's because fear can motivate us to do things that are not really with our higher self. We think that, like we perceive it as just like bad, like, oh no, you shouldn't have done this, and we put all this energy into being perfect. And even though I've been into the self-help, um like phase of life, like I've looked into self-help books, and I wanted to really instill those values of, like the law of attraction, but you can't really know what that is until until you notice it, like in a moment. um and I think sometimes, like, people from I don't know, every person in every, like, group of people, there is at least one person who, I forgot what I was gonna say. I know that I was talking about how fear can influence people, and that, it can keep us from just kind of being ourselves, and instead, be this inflated version of, like, I want to be positive. Anything that seems unpositive, well, we're just going to throw that out. And really, the most natural thing you can do for yourself is to be able to look at the things that you've done, the choices you've made, and say, this is a small chunk in my universe. You know, none of this will ever truly define me. And in knowing that, we stop worrying about, whether we have um what's the word? If we have filled our requirements at a certain deadline, and it's kind of, it can be stressful to think that you have to live up to a certain image. In your head, that's what you believe. If you were to tell anybody something different, if you were trying to tell somebody what you think, not everyone's going to understand it, and not everyone's going to think it makes sense. So, that's something that I'm learning, is that, it's not always easy to just let go and stop letting other people influence your decisions so much that you lose sight of who you are, and what makes you, unique and original, you know. And like that is actually that actually inspires me when I look into astrology. Um, I feel like how I've developed as a person has taken a lot of obstacles to get over, a lot of things that I needed to do on purpose so that I could feel more alive in the world, you know. And so like for for those who really love astrology, or any astrologers out there, my name is Maya. I am an Aquarius sun, a Gemini moon, and a Libra rising, and that is a lot of air, and it's very true. Especially for me, I am an overthinker. I think of ideas all the time. I think of songs all the time. I think of like something that I want to read about. I think of like something that sounds delicious in my head. I just think of all sorts of things, and honestly, my mind doesn't really have a filter. So you're gonna figure out. I mean, if you really like, if you're really open and like you don't let like you don't let small things get in the way of you being happy, then it's gonna be real easy for me to talk to you. But I tend to pick up on other people's thoughts. I mean, maybe I don't, but I have a feeling that I get thoughts into my head that are really eh, similar to what I I think about, or or somewhere close to it. And so I have all this Saturn energy in my chart. I have 6 planets in Capricorn. Um, four of those, yeah, four of those are in the fourth house. Two of them are in the third. Uranus and Mars. So, I moved around at least seven, I think, like three or four times maybe in my life. One was like in Arizona when I was 4 or 5. I went to preschool. I remember that I fed ducks on this grassy green hill. Small building, looks like a small building. I don't know how I still remember that, but I do. Um, and then after that, I moved back, and I moved into the city, which is where I was born. I was born in a city, um, and that was around the time when my mom started to notice that like I was socially awkward. I I couldn't like I couldn't look people in the eye very well. Um, I'm thinking that something happened that made me kind of like shut down, um, because I didn't like respond to people my age very easily. I got along more with adults. I think that some of that might be like um, all my Capricorn um, planets. Let's see. Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and let's see. I'm gonna turn whatever's playing down so I can hear myself think. What I was saying is that I have I'm talking about astrology, so let's get back to that. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was 10 years old, and I didn't really know much about it, so I was still like in the phase of wanting to fit in to a certain point. Like I didn't want to seem like I was different, you know. I wanted, in a way, I thought that I wanted to be popular. Um, but it's funny, like, there's different sides, because, like, with my Gemini moon, um, I showed, back when I was younger, in grade school, like, I felt like there was so many different sides of people's emotions, and part of me was like kind of felt hurt because I didn't want people to change. I wanted things to stay the same. It felt safer, like, because after I moved from the city to a small town where there isn't a whole lot of freedom just to be sometimes, like, people had to boost their ego, like they were on a sports team, or they were in, like, they were in a theater club. It doesn't matter, like, within every cultural group there is one person who thinks they are the absolute best, and if not, then that means there's more evolved people in the group. But we experience seeing people who think they're just so much better, and that the rules are an exception for them. And that's just a part of life. There are people out there, even if there aren't, like, a lot near you. They are out there, and I used to be naive of that. I wanted to believe that everybody was just nice and, loving, and that you should give people more chances, because who knows, like, now might be the right time um, to be around them. But I was, when you're kind of spending that time with somebody, or a few people who don't really know how to be a friend. It's hard when you're really sensitive to be loving to a person who's not loving to themselves. It's just hard. And so my lesson is to be able to be receptive to other people's moods and their insecurities, and learning not to identify with them so much when you're around them. Like, sometimes I could mirror people. I feel like that is a part of my Libra rising. Like, we tend to mirror other people's traits, really. And it can feel like, whoa, this feels like I've, like, Like I could pick it up, or like I could pick up the energy, or like I can channel it. And I'm sure some people out there might might feel a bit weird for some reason, maybe because somebody is making a similar facial expression to yours. I probably like, I feel like if I do feel somebody's facial expression within mine, then I feel like I sometimes I might feel like I need to hide it, so that they don't know that I I know that they're feeling what they're feeling. That's can be scary for some people, like they're a bit private or something. Um, like with my Aquarius sun, well, it's kind of hard to explain because it's in the fourth house, like, and it definitely describes like the essence of who I am, and that is like, that revolves around my imagination. I had a when I was a kid, I spent more time in my head, and and just like thinking of things on my own to kind of distract me from reality. Then I can list. I mean, my parents were so, when I was growing up, like they were heroes to me. They were like they're like scientists to me. Um, I thought that they were so perfect and smart and like passionate and like geniuses in their own craft. And that is like, that is the Aquarius sun. Like, you like my parents have taught me in a way how to shine, how to shine in the area of my interest. And that is some that's not like quite there yet, but it's on its way. And I think each step is is like a success. And and having gratitude for for being as far in my journey as I am, that is a blessing in itself, you know and learning how to be happy where I am, instead of like wanting to go elsewhere to find it. Um, it could be a common thread in people's expectations for life. Like we see another place online and we're like, oh, I want to go there. Like that would be so much more exciting. And learning how to just be in the moment. That's what been one of my challenges too. Um, because I haven't always been in the moment. I've kind of been. I it's like I travel. I travel somewhere. I travel to another place in my mind all the time, and I'm not always like fully here because I'm constantly searching for something. So, like, my moon in Gemini is in the ninth house, and that's like that represents my journey, my higher truth. Um, and I am quite curious. I'm a curious person. I don't always, um, I don't always show it necessarily, but I think it's because, like, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes when someone's brought up in a different upbringing, the things that they find culturally acceptable aren't what aren't the same as what I think is culturally acceptable. And my culture in general is a mix of many different things. So I don't have like a I don't have a strict base of my roots. I have a huge springing of roots from the big ones to the really intricate tiny ones. There's so much family rootage in my life. I have 4 planets in the fourth house. There's so much family around me, like, and there's so much room for me to find myself and to accept myself as I am, and to not fight for causes that are not meaningful for me. Like when somebody says like pick your battles. Well, that's one of my lessons too. I need to pick my battles. Um, let's see. Anything else? I also have hmm, I do have my Mercury and my Venus in Capricorn in the fourth house. I love I really love like old like old style art and clothes and music. Like I could go back like to the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, and I can enjoy some of the music. I can enjoy, like, I've looked at like a 1956 Montgomery Ward catalog and all the different outfits, and it's just so interesting. I mean, like, maybe it's not exactly something that I'll wear, but like I'm fascinated by like older eras. Um, I love old cars. Like I went to auto, my first rod run show on the coast, and I was just like, I was I was in awe, and there are so many people there, and like that could kind of get to me, like, just bigger crowds of people. It's like, whoa, there's so much to take in. But then when you just look at the cars, like, it's like, whoa, I wanted to know what the name of I want to know the make of each car, and want to see if my mom knew the model. And it was just fun, and makes me kind of feel connected to my dad, because he loved putting together like these small toy cars that you could put it together in steps, and then you could paint it, and it looks pretty cool. I didn't necessarily pay a whole lot of attention to it when I was younger, but like I remember it. Um, and in general, like these aspects, I believe, makes you like it makes you just have a deep well of of just being, and of thinking. Like you're just you're so out there, in terms of just all the things that you have gathered in your life. You have like a lot of soul, a lot of purpose. Like you need purpose. And Venus and Mercury and Capricorn makes it, I don't know, you feel drawn to having a purpose, connecting with people, um, who are much older than you, um, and I don't know, it makes you more patient, and it makes you more insightful, because um, you don't always have to prove, like I don't know, you don't always have to prove that you are deep. You show it. You build things to make um, your depth more moving, you know. And for now, I'm starting to fade a little. I might take a nap. Here's my babbling. If anybody likes what I have to say, leave me a comment. I could introduce you to my art page. I think you might enjoy seeing what I do. I draw abstract designs, and I color them. My page, I have a page on Facebook. It's called Maya's Abstract Designs. Thank you, and I hope you like this video or subscribe to my page. Love you guys.